Hello and welcome to another episode of the WFNY BrownsCast, brought to you by the Evergreen Podcast Network and part of the Waiting for Next Year community. My name is Joe Gerbs Gerberry, and I am brought to you, I'm bringing to you, I guess. Got lost in the sauce there for a moment. Bringing you Taylor Jedrzak tonight. I'm feeling confident about your last name now. I said it properly last week, so I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I'm just going with it.
Well, once it's kind of like a muscle memory thing.
Yeah, I got it once. We're good. So, both me and Taylor are here tonight. Matt is off in parts unknown. I don't know what he's doing tonight, but prepping for
he's
prepping
winning
for
because he's not talking about the Browns.
That's 100% fair. He is already camped out for Guardians playoff game on Saturday. Maybe, who knows?
He's just going to live at Gateway for the next 2 days.
I honestly, I wouldn't blame you at all if that was the thing that you were doing and had the capacity with which to do it. Anyway, we are here. We are here to talk some Browns, give you a preview of this Week 5 matchup as we get ready for a road game against the not Redskins. Are we going commies? I know it's Commanders. We're going commies.
Are we allowed to do commies right now, considering it's election season?
Manders?
And that one just sounds like. I mean, then you're gonna want me to call them the Charmanders, which would be funny.
Charmander. I mean, you have to admit that was a pretty good Charmander.
Yeah, that was solid for out of the blue like that. That was solid.
That was
get points.
Yeah, I get. Well, yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. The Commanders is. I think I've just settled on calling them Washington.
I truly, when I say this, I know it never would have happened because it's the NFL and they value like so many more things. Like they value image over everything at times. But Washington football team had such a nice ring to it that like they really should have kept it. Like I would have been okay if that was what they ended up like rolling with. They didn't, obviously, and they went with Commanders, and I get it, but also like it doesn't make a nice, easy nickname.
No, it's too long. You don't have very many. You don't have very many team names out there that are that long.
Right, and often like if you have a long name, you have to shorten it, and if you have a short name, you have to lengthen it. So like Browns becomes Brownies. Like Commanders just become something. It has to be shorter, and commies is the only thing that really makes sense. The comms, I don't know. Anyway, we are
my big issue with it is maybe it stems from laziness, but like the character length of Washington Commanders is entirely too many.
You write for a living, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But anyway, again, we've run afoul of some things here. This is some deep water here, but
we've lost the plot already.
Yeah, we're lost in the sauce. Anyway,
it took 4 minutes.
It was surprisingly it took 4 minutes. Week 5, Cleveland is at Washington. Heartbreaking loss. Like as much as I truly say that, and I don't like.
I wasn't heartbroken. I was pissed off.
Yes, but I say yes, but no. Like I it wasn't great. It was a loss that happened. Is basically kind of it. Like I don't know. Like it would have been nice to have gotten that win since they seemingly gave it to us so many times.
But the last 2 weeks, both teams have given us like they were just like, here, have game, and we were just like, nah, you can keep it.
Yeah, it's not fun when like you're on. So often we have been on the other end of that where it's like man, we just keep losing this game. We just keep losing this game. We just keep losing that. Oh, okay. We're gonna whatever. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and most teams have come back and actually won, whereas we don't.
Right.
But
So yeah, they really are not taking advantage of the easy part of their schedule, and it is obvious that this is a team that is hurting in a way that there is hope. Like, I don't want to say I don't want to come out and be like, "Well, pack it in, folks." But 1-3 with losses to the Giants and the Raiders, like, it's not great. It's not what you
no,
want.
it feels very not good.
Um, and again, in a way, to have it, especially that last drive where you're pushing the ball down the field, your backup center hikes it early, and your quarterback has to scramble to keep the ball.
At least he kept the
And
ball. That would have
at
been
least he kept
real
the ball,
bad.
yeah. But and then the fourth down play where what was the end up reasoning behind it? Some Jerry Judy said they had something along the lines of they had the coverage
Either
there, but
either
they
they either the Raiders screwed up their own coverage to a point where it messed up our reads, or they just didn't read it right. I think Judy came back and said it was just good play by them, I guess. I don't know. It certainly doesn't help when the middle of your offensive line gets bum rushed after about a second and a half,
right,
and you don't have a chance to make it to the third read, because I think the third read was probably Judy, and that's a touchdown.
right.
Um, but
But it's been this is back to back weeks where Watson has had a guy open and just isn't able to get the ball out to them in a timely fashion that would allow them to score the touchdown that they should end up getting.
yeah,
Um, it's just it's a lot of yuck right now with the team, and it's getting to a point where they have to start calling out some guys. And I made the comment this week in our Discord, um, drink for Discord, by the way. Um, are we starting to get to a point where this is a little on Andrew Berry and the front office for not helping the personnel groupings? Because Jedrick Wills and Jack Conklin has suffered a hamstring injury, I guess. So maybe you can say some things were a foul here, not 100% on him, but Wills and Conklin not being ready for the start of the season, not
I don't.
not spending any capital on backing up your tackle spot and rolling, and I'm fine with rolling with Dwan Johnson, but or Dwan Jones, but I don't know, man. I just there are some points where I'm like, this could have been prevented to a point.
I do wonder if they are internally disappointed by someone like Wills coming back. Obviously, he got hurt again. This isn't the same injury that happened the first time. But you already kind of have that in the back of your mind. At least the fan base does, with his, I want to call it work ethic, his vibe. I think he's never quite had that same Joe Thomas, Joel Bitonio vibe with the fan base. There's people that criticize him for wearing sleeves, which
Just
offensive
play
linemen shouldn't. But
play badly and do anything. Play badly and you'll get criticized for the way you breathe in Cleveland.
yeah,
So I mean,
yeah,
we're not gonna get into what should or shouldn't be a cause for concern here, but
yeah. He's never quite vibed. He doesn't have the same demeanor as Joe Thomas. So I think people have maybe taken him down a peg for that. But you do wonder if, what was he not ready for the season of his own accord? Was he not taking rehab as seriously as it seemed like Nick Chubb was? I
Yeah,
don't know. We don't know. The building is very good about not letting things out of the building.
right. You're locked in. You're not. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. Kind of a situation. Yeah.
Yeah, except for it's every rumor. The
Right.
Condoleezza Rice thing weeded out the last leakers.
Right. Yeah. I think I think Will's having it was reported as an MCL strain. I thought last year, and I mean that's a like 4 to 6 week injury, and I know it was near the end of the year when it happened, or middle-ish, that basically caught the year out. But like to miss games into this season for that type of injury, I don't know. We're getting into like weeds stuff here, but
Isn't
you
that
know
what we're paid for?
we're paid. Who's getting paid anyway? Um, but yeah, it's there should have been something else done to address the line. I do agree with you. It definitely does seem like that there should be some apprehension or some issue taken with what the rehab process, if there was no other injury that occurred or something was reported incorrectly. um I don't know. I'm just a little frustrated. I was going to say frustrated, flabbergasted, and I tried to combine them in my brain. But Devon Jones being a starting tackle is fine. James Hudson should not. And to go this long into the season without having fixed that situation, it screams like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it doesn't help that they've also lost Teller and they've lost their center. And I mean, Posick could come back, but Teller's not going to be back for what was last week 1 of Teller being
Yeah.
out.
Yep.
Okay, so you got 3 more weeks of that. I think he can come back for the Ravens game. I think that's what that is. But yeah, I mean they're more depleted on the offensive line than they have been since Stefanski's been there. 2020 they stayed remarkably healthy. 2021 they were pretty healthy if I remember right. 2022 Nick Harris was going to start at center and he got hurt on the first play of the preseason, and they kind of spent the entire year trying to figure out who was going to be the center.
Right.
But it's just they carried more injuries into the season from last season than I've ever seen an NFL team do.
Right.
On one side of the ball, you entered in this season with 3 injuries that were still keeping players out that happened last year. One of them happened in week 2 of last year. But I trust Nick Chubb that he's not slow rolling this. So,
yeah,
and I trust Jack Conklin.
Nick Chubb can do no wrong. We're not out here trying to
no, if he could be out there, if he could be out there, he would be out there.
Right.
So,
but yeah, it just feels weird. It just feels weird that that's a thing, But anyway, we can move on. Since we invoked his name, Nick Chubb was activated. Well, not activated. They opened the practice window for him, Michael Dunn, and Naheem Hines, and they were able to get
Naheem Hines is another one that got hurt last year, but didn't come back until just now. And he got hurt under live last year, but he was hit by a jet ski, and that's different.
It sure is. That's a big that's a big injury. But anyway, they all had the 21-day practice window open for them, which allows them to practice with the team after being on the PUP list. They are not necessarily activated, but they are they would have to then count as like inactives, correct? Is that the situation?
I
as
think
it goes?
if he doesn't return by the end of the 3-week window, he's out for the year.
Yes, that is accurate. But I'm saying, like, at this point now, if if Nick Chubb or any of them, if Michael Dunn is not ready to play this week,
I
and
think he's still
they have to
technically
mark
on the
him.
pup list. I think he's still
Gotcha.
technically on the pup list. I think
Gotcha.
until they activate him off the pup list, you once you bring him back for practice, like he's practicing, that's like another layer of it. That's the first layer. Then you activate him from it, back from the pup list, and that's when he just has to be the practice time to activation has to be within 21 days.
Gotcha. Which is fine, which is good, which is, some stuff that we're ready for, because that means Nick Chubb is getting back in our lives as football fans and Cleveland Browns fans, more specifically.
Hopefully that brings me joy. I've missed it.
Yes.
I've missed joy.
Yes. This season has been a lot of the Hawkeye in Endgame meme of "Don't give me hope." It's a lot of that, where it's because we know what the other shoe is going to drop on us. But anyway, so yeah, we are closer to Nick Chubb being a person that is playing for our favorite our football team again, which is nice.
He can play baseball too. He might be better than some. Actually, he might not be better than anyone on the Guardians this year.
Guardians are great. They're gonna do really good on Saturday.
Now, would you rather have Nick Chubb as the pinch runner in a late game situation than like Freeman?
I want to Tyler Freeman, absolutely. Other guys, not necessarily. However, I very much now want to see Nick Chubb come barreling down third base and just smell what happens when the catcher sees Nick Chubb coming. But
I'd love to see how fast he gets from first to third. It's got to be insane.
Well, what would his? Like I say, we'll look up his 3-cone drill when he was at the combine, however long ago that was, 2018. But yeah. Anyway, we're again.
We're veering off. Honestly, I think we're just avoiding the game at this point.
It is. We are. That is 100% accurate. So,
his 3-cone was 7.09. I think that's actually slow.
It is. That is a little slow compared to what a lot of these guys end up doing for first or home to first. So
yeah.
But anyway, all right, let's get back into it. We have the Commanders this week. We're going to them. They have been a
offensive juggernaut.
A juggernaut offensively. Their offense is run, which has been an issue for Cleveland this year. Let me look at I want to see how much they're
not explosive. They're like incredibly efficient.
I'm gonna say it is
stupefyingly efficient.
They are third in rushing yards as a team. Unsurprisingly, Baltimore has 881 yards already on the season, but Washington is 677 yards rushing. I don't think Jayden Daniels has missed a pass, which isn't true, but 82% completion percentage. He has like just a ridiculous amount of completions for yardage this year, and he is making everyone question themselves as to whether or not they made the right choice in thinking that Caleb Williams was going to be something. But
Yeah,
Jayden Daniels is great.
he's certainly been one of the most impressive first months of a quarterback in a long time.
Yeah. Brian
He is
Robinson
currently
has
87 of 106.
yes. It's crazy. That's a crazy number. He has like just one interception to 3 touchdowns. But anyway, Brian Robinson's been doing well for them, 307 yards. But Daniels is also on top of, completing 82%, he's also got 218 yards rushing for 4 touchdowns. So, yeah, that's a pretty good number there for the touchdown runs. Austin Eckler doesn't seem like he's in line to play. I think he's battling a concussion right now. Uh, Not that it matters as much. As I said, Brian Robinson's been great, and they have been using Daniels as a um, running back in a way. But yeah, the offense has been good for Washington. Do you think that Cleveland is capable of stopping them, doing anything right now against this team?
I mean, I think they're probably the best defense they've faced. The Bucks slowed them down pretty well. They kind of got some points late in that game when it was already decided. They scored 21 on the Giants, which yes is more than we did, but they were still slowed down. 38 in the Bengals. I'm not sure the Bengals can stop anyone, and I'm fairly certain the Cardinals can't stop anyone. So, if there was a grouping to start the season, if you're a rookie quarterback, and you were going to be kind of, I don't want to say spoon fed an offense, because there's a bunch of people that are spoon fed an offense that don't come out looking this good. But this is about as nice as it can get for a rookie quarterback in terms of quality of defense you're facing.
And it helps, like you said, their defense hasn't really done much either. But
no, I've in those team tier charts that I think it's Ben Baldwin posts every week. I've never seen a team further down in the bottom right corner, which means they have the best offense and the worst defense by a long shot.
Yeah. So it's gonna be great, guys. It's gonna be a nice shootout. I don't know. No, I did see a couple of fantasy guys say Deshaun Watson had a good game this past Sunday. Again, where he was, when he was able to throw, he did well. And I saw a couple of fantasy guys say that they would actually consider streaming Watson this week in fantasy, thinking that he'll put up numbers, which, like you said, as bad as this defense is for Washington, he better put up numbers. Is basically kind of the gist. Like,
yeah, wait until you hear his passing over under later.
Wee. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the offense does.
Well, it's a make or break for the offense. I don't know if that was the question you're about to ask, but
yeah, I mean, this is kind of as much of a get right game as there is.
If you're going to have any semblance of an offense this year, you have to at least show it against the worst defense in the league,
right? And it will be big to find out whether or not, like, if Chubb plays, this could be like that's a big boost to the team, because as much as like, is there a bigger upgrade than Chubb from Ford right now? Like,
no. I mean, there's probably almost equally as big an upgrade from Aiken to Njoku.
Fair.
Like, Njoku is not even on the same level as Chubb in terms of, being one of the best. Well, He might be a top 5 tight end now. He's just kind of buried in an offense that can't figure out what it wants to be. But I don't anticipate Chubb playing this week. I think the earliest we could see him would be next week. I don't have any insider information, obviously. I am not important enough for that. But
it sure would be nice, you know?
It would be nice. It would bring some pop to the podcast, wouldn't it?
Were we to have some info here. But no, yeah, it'd be nice, but we don't. So that's fine. Yeah.
But I think that this week is about just getting him back on the field. I think next week would be the earliest we could see him on the field. And even then, I don't know if they're going to want to put him on the road for his first game. So I would not be shocked if his first game is against the Bengals in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
as much as I want to see him back this weekend, I just trying to be realistic.
He has been limited in practice this week. I guess I'm also like seeing some of the like Mary Kay Cabot tweeting out like he looks good, like kind of a situation where it's like, oh, again, don't give me hope. Look,
I've seen the videos too, and like he looks much better than I thought he would in his first 2 days of practice. He's cutting and running and doing drills. I thought he would just kind of be stretching on the side, wearing pads, maybe doing some light jogging and sprinting.
Right.
But he's out there doing running back drills.
Working the bike, that kind of stuff. He's
out there doing running back drills. He looks good.
Yeah. Again, as much as to that point that we made earlier, that if this is the game that you need your offense to get right, how much more right would it be if you put Chubb in there? That'd be giving them as much a boost as you can, and if you're that I don't want to say like hard up for a win here, but that's pretty much where we're at. So,
oh yeah, I mean, if there's pretty much a must win on this game, like, and it's definitely a lot harder than it seemed early before the season started, before we knew what the Commanders' offense would be, and what our offense would be. I mean, good Lord, but it's still a winnable game, even on the road. I will say the Commanders have been on the road the last 2 weeks when they've kind of found themselves, and that's going to create a pretty high anticipatory atmosphere at the stadium. They haven't had anything to root for there in years. So
they've had things to root there for, just in general. But anyway,
last year when Dan Snyder was gone, that
is fair.
Big, but they really haven't had a game. They haven't had a player to go see in Washington in a long time. So you're probably not running into a situation where you're going to have a whole lot of Browns fans in the building like you have the last week in Las Vegas. So it's just going to be tough. It's a lot tougher than we thought it would be. I think the going into the season, we targeted the last 2 games and this one as the 3 they needed to win. As it turns out, getting the Jaguars are much worse. They might fire their coach before Halloween if this keeps up.
Yeah, Doug Peterson has shot up the first coach fired boards here.
He's got to be like in the plus 200 or 300s at this point.
I don't know. McCarthy can't really be too far behind either, though. But that was who I think was the lead here. But yeah, you win this one. You have Philly next week in Philly, which is another like hard road game to have. But
against a team that you have no idea what they are, because I don't think they know what they are, because they might also be firing their coach before Halloween.
Yeah.
And they're 2-2. The vibe there just seems off, and it might just be Philly. The vibe
it is a little bit of Philly. It's also, I mean, Sirianni came in that they're their vibes were very much off this year because they came in with like knowing that their coach and quarterback were fighting with each other. So, or at least didn't seem to like each other as much.
Yeah, last season ended so poorly for them that the vibes never were really recovered.
Right. You want to talk about injuries hanging over from last year?
Yeah.
That definitely did not get fixed in the offseason like many thought it would.
Yeah.
But yeah, it I would love to see Wills and Conklin back out this week, trying to steer us back into the game that we're trying to preview.
I feel like we're more likely to see Conklin, and I think he's probably about 80%. I'm about 65-70% sure we'll see Wills.
Both were DNPs yesterday on Wednesday, and then listed as limited for Thursday's practice. It will be so obviously upgrades for them, upgrades for Newsome and Miles and Okoronkwo.
Posick
was elevated to a limited from a DNP, which is nice. That is what you want. David Njoku went from a limited to a DNP, and there was somebody else that went also.
Zadarius Smith went from no listing to limited today.
As long as it's not on Friday. Friday injury pops are always the worst. Propping up on the injury list on Friday is not great. But yeah, so maybe we might not get an Njoku week this week. I think that would put him at, this would be 3 games that he missed then, correct?
Who, Njoku?
Yeah. If if it trends the way that it's supposed to, where he doesn't get,
this will be the 4th. He got hurt week 1.
Okay.
This would be his 4th miss.
Yeah, so not great. Again, not what you want, but hopefully we're able to get him back, and it would make the IR, the no IR designation kind of stinky. But
I actually counted it. I counted it yesterday. Like the Commanders' injury list is pretty long too. They do have a lot of fulls on there, though.
But they have. I was going to say, I'm like, theirs isn't as long as Cleveland's, but it is lengthy. But it's a lot of full listings here. So
I don't understand why they have 6 dudes on there that have been full the last 2 days, but they're on the injury report. But I counted it just yesterday, and there's like 33 names on the list between the 2 teams, which is just obscene for week 5.
Right. But yeah, hopefully this is a week where we can kind of put some of these Amari Cooper rumors to rest, where we can see, some improvement along the offensive line with guys coming back and getting healthy.
We just need to see any kind of improvement. It's just been so... That's been one of the most disappointing parts of the last 3 weeks. I don't think the team... it's been the same basic play out the last 3 weeks. The Jaguars just couldn't get out of their own way even harder.
Michael Scott, I'm just going to lose harder than you.
That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
The Giants started too late trying to lose, and so did the Raiders. Otherwise the Browns might have figured it out eventually. But it was... It's been frustrating to see the team not improve over the course of 3 straight weeks, and technically 4 if you want to count the week 1 debacle. That was bad on a lot of fronts. The defense has at least been better in more pockets the last 3 weeks, but the teams they're playing haven't been necessarily testing them in any way. So, I don't know. I just want to be able to go out. I want to be able to actually have fun watching them, and I don't think we've done that yet this year.
No, even the Jacksonville game was a slog
Not,
of a.
it was not fun.
It was not a game that you want to that you watched and was like, this is great.
I love football.
Right. This is what I want to do
no,
with my life.
nothing about watching the Browns so far this year. This year has made me stop and say, you know what? I really like football even more now.
Right. So yeah, we will see as to what this brings. I would love to have again a get right game where we are able to look and see and point to this as a turning point for the season. I think you can maybe look at last week as a this isn't so bad with Watson, but the situation is too that you know you brought in Watson to elevate everything else around you in such a way that you didn't have to really worry about this as a like
Yeah, that was essentially
situation.
the reasoning I gave on Monday when me and Matt talked. Like, sure, we can't really blame him for the loss. He played actually pretty well. He had, I think I posted in the Discord earlier this week that he had the most unlucky play of the week by any quarterback by EPA metric. The pass to Cooper was projected to be a 2.2 EPA, and it ended up being a -5 EPA because it was
Yeah.
dropped and picked. So a 7-point swing on that play alone, and you win the game. So, it's you can't fully go out with vitriol and say this was Deshaun Watson's fault that they lost. It was all his fault. He needs to be a better quarterback, but he's being paid to fix problems.
Right.
The question is, do the Browns have too many problems right now?
Yeah.
Maybe.
And it goes back to my point earlier of like, is it on the front office? You made the move away from Alex Van Pelt as OC, and this is still very much a team that is learning to play the offense that they want to play, and figure out if they actually want to play this offense. Um, so you have guys that are coming in, and there has been no cohesion here because they've barely practiced. Even if Conklin comes back this week, who does he know on that line that would be anybody that's helping him that is able to help him know the offense better? Um, it sure it again it goes it I have said it before. We can't practice is overrated, but you also can't diminish the impact of practice in that
Yeah.
you want them to be out there doing things, but you also are okay if like they miss some practice. I don't know. I'm
I don't
rambling
know.
now, I think, but
There's a line that they haven't found yet between in the preseason and training camp between keeping guys healthy and getting the reps they need.
right.
Part of the issue this training camp is that there were so many guys carrying over injuries that it didn't matter. Like,
Right. And I think
who
that's
was going
kind
to
of
get
been
the
my
reps?
I think that's my point is that the situation remains that we are looking at a roster that desperately needs time to get together, but you needed that time to get together with your starters, and you didn't get that time together even with your backups. And so now
Yeah,
you're still like there with a whole bunch of people that you're struggling with right now. But
yeah,
I digress.
yeah. I mean, this entire podcast has been mostly digression. Let's be honest. Uh,
I am ready to go to picks whenever you are. Is basically what I'm trying to say. I need to get out of
Yeah,
here of like just continuing to say just random things.
yeah. I mean, but that's where we're at with the season, though. Like, there's been nothing fun about it. There's nothing to bring up. We're basically in a holding pattern until we know. Well, if the season's over, if they lose this week, then the season's over. But um, well, you're basically in a holding pattern until you get your guys back, and they have no dudes. They need to get dudes.
Right.
So,
Dude.
but yep, I'm ready for picks if you are.
Cool. Let's do it.
Okay. Let me adjust here so I can type. Okay.
That's helpful.
Yes, I do need to be able to type. We will start with the games at the bottom. We got a game we will be watching with vested interest of I don't care who wins. One team just has to lose horribly. Ravens at Bengals. The Ravens are 2.5-point favorites on the road. The over-under is 49.5.
2.5-point favorite, road favorites.
Yes, and keep in mind the Bengals are like playing for their season too. They would also be 1-4 with a loss.
Yes. I am going to say Baltimore over.
Over with a question mark.
Over?
Yeah, I think if the Ravens win, it's probably not going to be closer than 3. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go.
I think that Baltimore is. I think Baltimore's a juggernaut this year. I think some people, not necessarily us, but I think a lot of people underestimated how good Derrick Henry still is because he's been toiling away in
Nashville,
and now we are looking at what he looks like with a good QB and a better offensive line. So, yeah, that's basically that's what he got going on.
I mean,
since he hasn't really put it all together
he hasn't
yet,
stopped anything. They haven't proven they can tackle yet, and now they have to face Derrick Henry.
right?
So
Pleasant.
Good luck, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the over as well. I have Baltimore over. I'm gonna make you think a little bit now. We got Dolphins and Patriots. Patriots are a 1-point favorite at home. The over-under is 36.5.
I'm taking the under.
Godspeed.
I'm not about to like take the over. I'll tell you that. No matter you couldn't tell me a number that I would be like, yeah, I like the under or I like the over there.
I think I would have to lower it down to about 26.5 for you to take the over.
Yeah.
And even then you'd probably think about it.
Right. Man, I really want Miami to be better than what they are. They did a good job like starting out last week where because I watched a little bit of it because we had 2 Monday night games. I liked the idea of like getting Ty Hill the ball in space out of the backfield, have him line up in the pistol and throw him a screen. There's some wrinkles that are there that are pleasant for them, but man,
the Patriots defense has actually been okay. The problem is they have like far and away the worst offensive line in the league. Jacoby Brissett is out there dying every week.
Yeah.
It's the reason they're not playing Drake May, because they do not trust their line to keep him alive.
Yeah. They're hoping for some cohesion by week 7, like when they could say like, all right, we've played together enough to where I don't feel bad about, putting the future of the franchise in harm's way.
Well, even that gets thrown off because they lost their only good starting lineman this week for the season, their center.
Yay!
So,
I'm going to say Miami because the pieces are there more. I think obviously the quarterback is the biggest piece that's missing, but you've got an offense with HN and Hill and Waddle. In theory, they should be better than they are. Even Snoop Huntley as quarterback, if he's just completing some simple passes, that's all he needs to really try to do and get the
yeah.
ball to his playmakers.
Yeah, he'll have another week in the offense, too, which is helpful.
Right. So, yeah, I'll say Miami under, just because I don't know that I still don't know it's going to happen for them.
I don't know. I mean, I think I'm gonna go with the Patriots defense, specifically because they're at home, and it's gonna be a slop fest. So I'm gonna take Patriots under. We got another 1 point spread. This time there's a home dog. You got Bills at Texans, and the Bills are favored by 1. The over under is 47.5.
Like, some of these teams have been having really hard matchups, like week in, week out. Like Bills have been playing big games, Houston's been playing big games. Um, Bills on the road.
Yes, Bills on the road.
Okay. Um, he says 1 point. Oh man. So I think it's
Texans are getting a point.
It's really hard to say if I'm picking Buffalo. I'm picking Buffalo. Yeah, Buffalo, and over under was 47.
Yeah.
We'll say over.
Yeah, I feel like Buffalo was kind of exposed last week, weren't they? Just a little.
Just enough. Just
Enough to
enough.
give you some doubt. Like, I think they probably would have been like a 2.5, 3.5 point favorite had they not gotten like shit canned by the Ravens.
Yeah, I think Mixon plays this week, which is helpful for Houston. But I do think that it's really hard to go against Josh Allen at this point. So
Yeah, I think I'm gonna echo you because there's no point in picking the spread when it's 1.
right, I think Houston could cover this game, but it's only a point. So I can't
Yeah, and then we got a game that can literally go in any direction you can imagine. Cowboys at Steelers. Steelers are 2.5 point favorites. The over under is a pretty exorbitant 44.5.
Oof.
Which team has worse vibes? Steelers don't even really have bad vibes. They're just maybe not that good. We don't know.
Right. I saw a meme picture today that was trying to justify Justin Fields getting putting Justin Fields' numbers up against Pat Mahomes, and just saying why is he not getting looks at MVP? And it's well, I mean, it's Pat Mahomes, man. I don't know what to tell you. Oh boy, Pitt's giving points.
I'm going to
Dallas.
confirm that. I'm going to confirm that.
ESPN.
Just to be
I
sure.
just checked on ESPN, and they're minus 2.5, so they're giving points. Oh,
Steelers are favorite somehow.
I'm gonna say Dallas. I God, I don't feel good about that one. I don't feel good about that at all. I don't feel good. I don't like any of this. I don't like because Dallas is just they have looked so bad. And Pittsburgh has probably one of the better defenses in the league.
And Dallas is like in need of it, and they're more talented.
Right.
The over under feels really high for what this game is probably going to be.
All right, I'm gonna say Dallas Pittsburgh under. That's my final answer.
Hedging.
Hedging. It's called a
Hedging
hedge,
just
everybody. This is how Pittsburgh wins, and
Hey, look, I was the only one that got a point in the Bills Ravens game last week because I hedged. I picked the Bills to win, but the Ravens to cover their 2.5.
yeah,
That was the only point anyone got.
Yeah.
Did you take the under?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go Dallas and under as well, just because I just don't think those teams are going to score that many points. And now we get into the Browns game. Yay! The thing we're all looking so forward to. Yeah, the best way I can describe what Gerbs just did is a "ooh boy" fist pump. Here's some surprising over-unders. Jayden Daniels passing yards over under 209.5.
I'm gonna say under.
Okay.
I think they want him. I think they want him running. I think they're gonna try to just run blitz the crap out of the ball against Cleveland, which has worked.
Yeah.
Jordan Hicks is DNPs for yesterday and today, which is a big miss if he's out, which he likely will be. So
Devin Bush actually played pretty well last week.
he did. I don't want to, but I think Hicks is the bigger name there than Devin Bush. But yeah, I think Cleveland has been run on, and I think that's going to be the game plan.
Yeah, I agree for the most part. I'm going to go with under as well. And here's the surprising one. Deshaun Watson passing yards over under 226.5. Highest passing yards of the year. He has yet to get to 200. It's his highest over under the year. He has yet to get to 200. Commander's defense is garbage. Contrast those two things.
If they gave up 312 to Cincy and 280 to Tampa Bay, but only 175 to the Giants and 115 to the Cardinals.
I don't know what the Cardinals did wrong last week. I never really looked into how that got out of.
They had 181 rushing yards. I don't know how you had that many rushing yards and you still lost 42 to 14.
Yeah, the other team had 216. That's how you do it. But what
is your game? What is your game script at that point? Like you're just running to run because it's there. Like
I just don't know what they came out and scored a touchdown, and then by the first possession of the third quarter, it was 24-7. Like I don't know how they. I mean, they went 3 and out twice. They turned the ball over on downs. I don't know. I think the game just got away from them. But I don't know. Deshaun Watson over under 226.5.
I'm gonna go under. I want to go over because I want to think that he's going to have a good game. But
he has to show it to you.
They have to show it to me. He has to show it to me, and I mean, it's been every other game that they've been like really good against the pass. So, and maybe this is maybe Chubb is back and they just run it a bunch. That's what I'm hoping for, I guess. Maybe I don't know.
Um, it 226 is such a low over under. Like in the grand scheme of the NFL, I know this year is different, but like it just feels like 226 passing yards is nothing
Right.
in the offenses that we grew up watching. Like 226 was a bad game.
Yes. Yeah,
Now a bad game is in the 160s.
we've been conditioned with Madden numbers, not like realistic numbers.
Yeah. So I'll take the over, and I guess I'll hope for the best. Terry McLaurin receiving yards over under 51.5.
Say over.
I'm going to see what he's done real quick. Because to be honest, I'm not entirely sure. I know he had a pretty good game against Cincy. Let's see. 52, 120. He started the season with 17 and 22, and then he had 100 against Cincinnati and 52 last week. I'll take the over. Cooper receiving yards over under 49.5.
I'm gonna say over. I feel like I'm all over the place. I feel like I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the over as well. Okay, Browns total touchdowns over under 3.5. They've not scored more than 2 in a game so far this year.
Under for points wise. I want it to be over because I want them to win, but I'm going to say under because that's probably more likely.
Yeah, like 3 feels like a number you could win with. Like you can get to 27 points with 3 touchdowns.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna. It's hard to take the over because they haven't done it.
Right. Again, yeah, that really is it. That's where we're at right now. Is we don't have any idea what this offense looks like, and so it's really hard to say with any kind of certainty. Yes, this is what's going to happen. So.
Yeah, there's no data to back it up. Okay, pick your game. Who wins?
What is the spread?
Commanders -3.
43.5
points. It's moved towards the Browns since it started.
Yeah.
Not much, but it has. It opened at 3.5.
Applied of like 23-20 with the over under.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go Washington, Cleveland under.
Man, you just want it to be painful.
Oh yeah, no, it's not gonna be great.
Lose by 2.
Yep.
Okay. God. Well, if I pick the Browns, that means someone's going to finally get a game pick right.
Yay!
None of us have gotten a Browns game pick right yet. Because we've all been on the same team every week.
Right.
Man. I'll pick the Browns. I don't know. Maybe I'm delusional. If I pick the Browns, that means I have to pick the Browns to cover. Let's see. If I'm picking the Browns, then I'm probably not picking a shootout. because we are not entirely sure the Browns are capable of a shootout.
You have to have bullets in the gun for a shootout.
Yeah, right now they might have a pop gun. Every now and then it has a good puff of smoke and a big crack, but other than that,
right,
they miss. I'm going to take the under as well. Hopefully I'm wrong. Oh, just so you know, the standings, Matt's dubious week 3 still has him up 3 points. You and him tied last week with 7 points, so you made up no ground. I had 10 points last week, so I made up 3 on both of you. You and I are now tied at 37, and Matt has 40.
Yeah, it was a rough week for me last week. It was I lost a lot in my pick and pool. I don't know. I'm last week was just a weird kind of week that I didn't really like. So we're hoping for better this time. So
look, I want to say it can't get worse, but good Lord.
No, it can.
If you say that, you haven't watched,
guys.
If you say that, you haven't watched enough Browns football yet.
It sure can. Most of us have known. So, all right, let's get out of here. For myself, for Taylor, for Matt wandering in the Gateway, the corner of Carnegie in Ontario,
hanging out in Barrio or Harry Buffalo.
Right. Looking at cleaning off the bird gunk from the windows at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. I don't know. I just always remember that the birds were running into the building and they had to put something over the windows to make it not do that.
Yeah.
It's the first thing that popped in my brain. Anyway, we're way out of world here, so I'm just going to say go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.